So if you've been a Pro Tools user for a while, you may remember opening 8 and encountering a whole new look than we had in 7 and 6 and 5. And when you open 11, you might be expecting that same new look. Not really. The graphics are a little different, at least on the Mac side, but it's not a complete redesign like we've had in the past. The big change in 11 isn't the graphic user interface, it's under the hood. Even though it may not be obvious just by looking, 11 has been redesigned from the beginning. 11 runs in 64-bit. That's great news for virtual instruments and complex sessions. DAE, the DigiDesign audio engine that we've been using for a long time, has been retired, and now we have the Avid audio engine, which Avid says is exponentially more powerful on the same hardware. 11 uses dynamic host processing, so it's better at managing the available memory in your system. Programmers call it coast processing. If there's nothing in the timeline on a particular track, for instance, tom fills or background vocals that only show up in part of the song, the memory reallocates to where it's needed at the moment, then it comes back when it's needed again. 11 has a new video engine to go with the new audio engine. In the past few releases, we've seen the influence of Avid's history and concentration on video products find its way into Pro Tools. For instance, we stopped calling audio pieces in the timeline regions and started calling them clips, like the video editors do. That influence is still at work, and this new video engine makes it easier for audio post-production people to import, work with, and export video files of different formats. There's a new system usage window that monitors what's happening at the CPU level. For the Mac, there's drag and drop installation, but almost everyone I know downloaded the app. You can keep 10.3.6 or higher on your system. You can't run both Pro Tools apps at the same time, but you can have 10 standing by. In fact, you'll need to jump back to 10 if your session uses 32-bit Audio Suite and RTAS plugins. Those aren't supported in Pro Tools 11. We now have 128 instrument tracks, and if you're using HD hardware, it's 256. And now we have 64 levels of undo, which is up from 32. 11 has offline bouncing. Avid says it's sample accurate and it's up to 150 times faster than real-time bouncing. And you can bounce an MP3 while you're bouncing your WAV or your AIF. That's new. Chapter 4 is about the Workspace browser, which replaced the Digibase browser. Its reason for being is to audition parts and eject drives. Now it has a faster method of sorting keywords so you can find the file that you want faster. Metering is new in 11. If you're using HD hardware, there are now 17 metering options, including some that have been industry standards for years. The mix window has 30% taller meters, and master tracks can have a different meter option than the track faders. 11 now has meters on the send files. It's not exactly precise, but you can see what's going where. And now at the bottom of the fader, not only do you get the fader level, you get headroom. And they've added output meters to the transport window. There's a series of new commands for bypassing inserts. These turn out to be all left-handed keys, so you can keep your right hand on the mouse. There are some interesting changes to automation. 11 has time-stamped automation, so that's more accurate now. And you can automate during recording or if you're in input mode. And if you make a volume move, you now have the option to convert that volume move to clip gain. There's now a fade-in on the transport. You can set a number from 0 to 4 seconds, and Pro Tools will fade in the volume instead of just jumping in on the downbeat. Chapters 6, 7, and 8 talk about plugins, control surfaces, and video formats, and we'll touch on those as we need them in this title. Now, if you're upgrading from 10 something, that's most of what's new in 11. If you're upgrading from 9 or earlier, let's cover some things that arrived in 10. One thing is the new session file format, .ptx. And you'll see at the bottom of the Audio Suite menu, you can go shopping for plugins. You can buy and upgrade and install plugins right from within the app. In this browser, you can sort by type, filter by price, try the plugins out for a few days so you can decide if you want to buy them. So happy shopping. And probably the biggest operational change that happened in Pro Tools 10 is the move from regions to clips and the introduction of clip gain. What used to be regions are now called clips. The region list on the right side of the edit window is now called the clip list. Region groups are now clip groups. Those nomenclature changes are just the last in a series as Pro Tools moves under the Avid umbrella. And now we're using a lot of the terms that the video editors use. So now that we know what's new in 11, let's install it.